It's been over a year since I bought the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and I feel like I owe it to myself to finally sit down and talk about it. Or talk about why I haven't been talking about it. If you look at my YouTube channel, it looks like I just disappeared. And in some ways that's true, but behind the scenes, that's not actually the case. This past year, I've been busy. I've been filming dance videos, PVs, the dance classes I go to, mainly things that I get paid to shoot. So I have been filming, I just haven't been editing my own things. And even though I haven't been editing my things, that doesn't mean that the Osmo Pocket has been sitting in a drawer. I've got, no joke, over 1.5 terabyte of footage on the Osmo Pocket alone. I use it twice a week for dance class, I bring it with me everywhere, so usage is not a problem. So that begs the question, why are there no videos on YouTube? Well, I originally bought the Osmo Pocket 3 to vlog, and for some reason, I tricked myself into believing that the Pocket 3 will magically make me become a vlogger, which, spoiler alert, it didn't, obviously. But weirdly, it kind of did, and got me a few steps towards that direction. I was filming more, I was talking to the camera, I was vlogging my days, and I was getting more comfortable speaking in front of the camera. So the filming part, I had down, I think, to some degree, but being a vlogger is two parts. One part is the filming, and the other part is the editing. And the editing, I didn't really prepare myself for how big of a hurdle that would be. Because with editing comes storytelling, and with storytelling comes planning, and with planning comes having an idea. And I never really have an idea when I go out and vlog. I just wanted to point my camera at something and capture it. And then somehow a storyline would appear out of nowhere, and I could make this wonderful vlog that I could just post on YouTube and everybody would love and enjoy and watch. But I'm going to be really honest with myself. I'm not much of a storyteller. I just enjoy making videos, and I like using cameras, Osmo Pocket being one, the Sony a7S III being my daily driver. But not being a storyteller and trying to be a vlogger doesn't really quite work that way. You have to be able to do both. Filming and storytelling needs to go hand in hand when you're trying to vlog. And I've also noticed quite a few things about the Osmo Pocket 3 that adds a little bit of friction, and I'm going to talk about it. The Pocket 3 is a very simple tool. You kind of just set it up, point it at yourself, and you talk to it. But there were some things that I noticed while going on my trips, while I was vlogging day to day, that I felt was a little restrictive and were kind of pain points when I was vlogging throughout my day. The first thing I noticed is that this camera isn't as simple as it looks. I bought the Pocket 3 because I wanted something that I could grab and go, but every time I take it out, there's a bit of setup involved. If I want good audio, I need the mic. If I want good exposure, I need ND filters. If I don't want to worry about damaging the Osmo Pocket, I need a case. And suddenly, a camera that's supposed to be tiny has its own little ecosystem. These aren't deal breakers, it's just friction that I've noticed every time I bring out the Osmo Pocket. I feel like I have to bring this whole bag to make the most use out of it, and it just feels wrong as something that is supposed to be pocket and grab and go. The other thing I want to point out is its durability. This is kind of obvious. The Osmo Pocket is a gimbal. It has tiny motors inside its head, which makes it a little fragile. Things such as dropping it wouldn't be ideal. It's not weatherproof either, so if it is raining, I usually leave the gimbal at home unless I know I'm filming inside. So, again, not a deal breaker, but something I have to think about before taking the Osmo Pocket out and using it throughout my day. And finally, the last thing I didn't really expect about the Pocket 3 is how much thinking I still have to do while vlogging. I've touched about this before, about my storytelling and lack thereof. It's easy to get good clips, but getting good clips means you have to pay attention. pay attention to the exposure, the framing, the composition. The Osmo Pocket 3 doesn't teach that for you. And all of that carries over to editing. You've got a lot of small clips, a lot of nice shots, but none of it tells a story yet. And when you're not already confident about telling a story, that friction adds up. After a year with the Pocket 3, I think the biggest thing I learned wasn't about the camera. It was about the expectation. I went into this thinking that the right tool would unlock something within me. That if I had the right camera, vlogging would feel natural, authentic, and it doesn't work like that. In fact, I actually have a script off to the side here to help me say what I want to say while making this vlog. The Pocket 3 doesn't turn me into a storyteller. It doesn't suddenly give me structure or clarity. What it did teach me was that filming is the first step, and taking clips is the first step. Talking to the camera is the first step. That was the first step I couldn't take using my Sony a7S III. That camera is too big, it felt a little self-conscious. I tried vlogging with my phone, but I don't like taking clips on my phone, especially when I'm traveling, because I need to use the phone to use Google Maps to get to places. So, the Osmo Pocket 3 taught me that the real work is when you sit down and decide what matters, what gets cut, and what the video is actually about. I learned that I don't need a perfect setup. I just need fewer clips with more intention. The Osmo Pocket 3 helped me film more. It helped me get comfortable in front of the camera, and honestly, that is probably the biggest thing I got out of the Osmo Pocket 3. I also realized something else this year. I like acquiring gear more than making a story, and that's okay. That doesn't make this a failure. It just means I'm wired differently than I thought. Vlogging still takes effort, it still takes intention, and I'm still trying to figure out what that looks like for me. But I honestly don't regret the Pocket 3. It's a lot of fun, it's a small camera, and I like bringing it around with me. So this video isn't really a review. It's more of a checkpoint of myself and where I'm at with vlogging with cameras. It's a way for me to pause, to look back on the year, and to be honest about what happened. Not just with this camera, but with how I approach videos in general. I think for a long time I was waiting to feel ready. Ready to tell better stories, ready to post consistently, ready to just vlog. And somewhere in that waiting, I forgot what I really enjoyed, which was filming, learning, collecting memories, acquiring gear. So maybe that's enough for now. Maybe the story comes later, or maybe it doesn't, and that's okay. For now, I'm just going to keep using the camera when it feels right, keep learning what I enjoy about the process, and stop expecting every clip to turn out to be bigger. This video is just me saying this is where I'm at, and I'm okay with that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Differently.
Yeah.
So
There's like a new one in summer.
what I saw is they just do like that's like